This podcast is sponsored by Green Drop Compression, a revolutionary new compression technology to relieve muscle and joint pain. Go to manopause.com/greendrop for more information.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another manopause.com Manopod podcast. We have a very special guest today. I'm sure you already recognize her. She's a familiar face to everyone, and she's a good friend of ours. Her name is Jane Sibbett. She's a producer, director, actor, founder of Jane's Dancing Hands, a spiritual healing phenomenon that we can't wait to talk about. Her most notable acting roles include playing Hetty Newman on the Fox television series Herman's Head, and probably even more famously, Ross Geller's first ex-wife in Friends as the groundbreaking role of Carol Willick, who was one half of the first TV lesbian wedding ever on the hit series Friends on NBC. So Jane, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Mike.
How are you? Great to see you. That was a nice intro, Larry. You said it was going to be very short, but I think you actually could have gone on for another hour.
I could have, because her resume.
At IMDb, you would see her resume is like
so long. I know.
Yeah.
I had to pick and choose.
I've been so fortunate. That's a stroke of the luck. I just say that's what it is. It's just stroke of luck. Every single episode, 200 hours of television.
That's great. And movies.
And movies.
And films. Lots of movies, yes.
Yeah,
when did you start your career? What age were you when you started?
Well, actually getting paid for it? Because I started acting a little tiny bit in high school because I was so shy. Mm-hmm. And then I was a theater major at UCLA. But my first... Go Bruins! Are you Bruin?
Yeah.
Hi!
I took a class.
How did I miss this?
I took a class here. Does that count?
No.
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
The class.
I started it.
Yes. So Bruins. Yes. Yeah. And then my first professional role was I think it was Scarecrow and Mrs. King. I was a high class prostitute. Is that really my first thing ever? I was on a soap opera for a year and a half, and I thought I would do this forever and ever and ever. It was so much fun because there would be 40 pages of dialogue every day, and I loved it. It was the best training because I didn't know anything when I got there. I learned to hit the mark and find my light eventually after being yelled at by the director a lot. But it was great. And then I was devastated because I was kind of going through all the guys on the show and nothing was really working out. And so I'm
sorry, wait, go back. You were what?
I was going through all the male characters on the show. Oh. I was one of those fabulous soap opera characters, bitch by day, slut by night. Can I say this?
Oh, you did. You just did.
I just did. Yeah. I was definitely bitch by day, slut by night. Jane and Roxanne on the Santa Barbara was the soap opera.
I was on that.
You saw Santa Barbara?
No, I was on it as an actor. I did like 5 shows. Yes.
When? What years?
Like 100 years ago. I would think I was 20-something.
Yeah, we all were 20-something.
He played a high-class prostitute on there, I think. Yeah.
I was a DJ, but I don't think we're on at the same time because I think
I would have remembered you.
We surely would have remembered.
You would have gone through me.
I would have gone through you.
I was Tony the bartender, so you definitely would have.
Oh, you were Tony the bartender.
Yeah.
I was in that bar a lot with Brick.
Then maybe we were there.
Brick was my last goodbye on the show. My last boyfriend of many on that show. Anyway.
Well, anyways,
Santa Barbara, and then from there, I was blessed to work with Hugh Wilson on the famous Teddy Z, which was an Emmy-winning television show that lasted a single season because it got in some political battle between Columbia and CBS at the time. So, anyway, so I've just been super blessed to just keep working and working and working and working and working.
Well, and you've been busy this last year with the reunion they had last January for Friends, and then the recent writing summit workshop with Marta Kaufman.
Yes. So the big Friends with all the characters, it hasn't quite happened all the way yet.
Wasn't there a show on HBO where they interviewed a bunch of the characters?
Maybe, but I wasn't there.
Oh.
I was in the audience.
Okay.
You
we don't need to talk about that then.
We don't want to feel sad about it or anything like that, but I was sitting in the audience like you.
Right.
I was the friend that was no longer a friend because it's really about them being six, and which as it should be, right?
Right, sure.
Right.
Yeah, but I just did do the story summit with Marta Kaufman, and it was a mini Friends reunion because we had Maggie Wheeler, who played Janice, and Tate Donovan, who played Joshua, and of course my beautiful wife, Jessica Hecht, who played Susan Bunch. So we had a blast.
So how long ago was that you got the part of Carol? And you, as I recall, you replaced the original Carol, which is kind of, wow, what a tough thing for the original Carol, obviously. But for you to come in, what was the chemistry? I mean, you walked in and we were all blown away by your character. Seriously, you and Jessica, right?
Yep.
Dynamite. That chemistry on television was just on screen was just great.
Oh,
so how did it happen?
Well, I had originally auditioned like everyone else in Hollywood for one of the main six characters. And
which one? Ross?
Three nipples. Three nipples. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. Three nipples.
Who has three nipples? No. I had actually originally auditioned for Rachel.
Oh.
Now, there are so many people that take this interview and they go, oh, I was supposed to be this, but I want you to really listen to this story, right? Because I keep trying to correct the story because people make it something else. But the true story is I auditioned for Rachel. My manager says, they love you. My agent says, they love you. They want you to come back, and to test. And I knew it had gone really well. I go, well, that's awesome. Did you tell him I'm pregnant? And they're like, oh, no. We thought you should just get the part and then tell them afterwards. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this character so much. And I love this show. I know it's going to be a huge hit. It was just so good. Please, I can't do that to them. I have integrity and I'm married to a writer and producer. I know what that would do to the show. Find out about the timing and like, oh, Jane, no, really, like, please. But you know what? If they can't work out the timing, please ask them. If I can't be that character, could maybe I be the pregnant lesbian? And so my agent called back like, all right, they said they couldn't use you after all. And I'm like, well, what about the pregnant lesbian? And they said, now that timing won't work either. It's exactly, my son was due in early September, and that's exactly when they're going back. I'm like, okay, no worries. I have a baby. Bless them. And they said, don't worry, they'll have you back at some point. So literally the day I got home from the hospital after delivering my son, it was a 24-hour labor. I get a phone call. Guess what? And I'm thinking it's a congratulatory call because we didn't have cell phones then, did we?
No.
25 years ago.
No.
I get a phone call. I'm like, congratulations. No. It's my agent. Hey, guess what? You remember that show Friends? Yeah. By the way, congratulations on the baby. Remember that show Friends? They would like to know if you would like to go to work tomorrow. I'm like, what? Like, they would like to know if you would like to take over the pregnant lesbian role. I'm like, just delivered a baby, kind of sore. I mean, literally, I had just walked in the door after my 24-hour labor at home. So do you remember that? Remember what that's like?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pain.
Kind of sore. So they said, look, it's only 2 episodes. They said they will make it whatever you want to do. You can bring your nanny. I'm like, I don't have a nanny. I have a mom. Like, okay, you can bring your mom. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. Look, we're going to send over the pilot to you. And then you decide.
Odd.
I'm like, all right, send me the pilot. So I'm literally nursing my son. He falls asleep and I'm watching the pilot. And I watch David Schwimmer. and he does the slowest take on ever. I mean, the slowest take I've ever seen in comedy. And I just went, oh my God, I've got to work with this man. I have got to do the show. I mean, I knew the script was great. I knew half the cast already anyway. And so I said, all right, I'll do it. And so literally that was day one of my baby's life. And day two, we were on the set.
I cannot believe that. That is crazy.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
But you know what?
It's a nice story, but there it is.
It shows that, again, integrity has its rewards.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And, they might have been really pissed at you if you didn't tell them and you showed up, and that would have been it.
Big old fan. Yeah.
So integrity pays off. That's fantastic.
It does. I won't tell any more super long stories. That was my longest.
That was great. That's a great story. I know that story.
They know the truth now because the truth was told.
And I did run into this woman. Yeah, now you know the truth. So that everyone says, oh, I took the role from Jennifer. No, I wasn't. I was close to being in the Reading. And no, I didn't get it. But they did offer that to me. And I had been told that they were replacing her. And then it came out later that she said that she left. I don't know really what's true, but I did get to meet her later on. And she did not try to. I've replaced her 3 times. Isn't that weird? And she doesn't even look like. I mean, do we look like one another? Have you seen her? She's got curly hair, probably this color.
Wow.
The darker part of my hair.
Wow. By the way, there was an episode of Herman's Head that I happened to look through in preparation, where actually Jennifer Aniston was on the show. She played a character called Astrid that was actually, her real name was Sue. And you guys interacted. It was kind of a weird looking scene, knowing what I know.
And that was before
Friends, right?
Obviously before Friends,
right.
But she played Herman's little sister on Herman's Head for a few, 2 or 3 episodes. And it was funny because my husband eventually became the man who would become my husband was one of the producers on the show. I remember him saying, well, she's really great, but her hair is always in her face. And isn't that funny? Everything was about her hair on Friends, right? Because she's got that beautiful hair. Got to get that hair out of her face. I'm like, oh, this is her thing. She's beautiful. She's great, isn't she? I love Jen.
Are you tired of sore muscles, swollen legs, and achy joints, especially when you exercise or have a long day? Larry and Mike here to tell you about a revolutionary new product that will change your life.
That's right. It's called Green Drop Compression Gear, a new type of compression gear that's infused with herbal ingredients that fight inflammation and speed your recovery from exercise or daily activities.
Unlike other compression garments that can feel tight or hot, Green Drop Compression Gear has the ideal amount of compression combined with camphor and wintergreen to soothe those tired muscles.
Ooh, that sounds nice. And it works. Larry and I use the elbow, knee, and sock compression, and they're amazing. And the infused herbal ingredients will last for over 40 wash cycles.
Menopause friends, you need to try these. Green Drop Compression Gear. Get them now on menopause.com/Green Drop. They're a game changer.
So how long have you been working as an actress? I mean, a paid actress. How many years span?
We're about 35 years now.
Wow. That's incredible, right? They say there's no roles for women, but this year is the year for women. Big time.
It
right?
is.
It is. And last year, year before last, but no, it's really becoming quite kind of it's a great thing for women and to get so many roles. And are you going to continue your acting, or are you going to do Jane's dancing hands?
Let's find out. Let's find out how that came about, because you were a busy actress and are a busy actress.
Yeah.
You have this entirely different website and movement and itinerary that you have to follow. So tell us how all that got started.
Well, I do want to just I'm going to go like this. I'm going to tell you all about the dancing hands. And also I am still acting. I just came off of a female-based movie. So I just finished a feature, but we can come back to that later. Okay.
Okay.
No, actually, let's go back to that.
Okay.
Only because I want to talk about how we know each other.
Okay.
for menopause.
And then we'll go to Dancing
we can
Hand?
go to Jane's Dancing Hand. So I know this is kind of odd, but we're all friends, so we can do this,
We
right?
totally can.
We can do this.
Okay, I just
So,
wanted to
go
make sure
ahead.
I was honoring both of your questions. So
Yes, you tell your story.
I didn't want anyone to be left out. So
Okay, tell your
So no, I just came on. I can't tell. Well, I can't tell you a whole lot, but I just wrapped, and they're still shooting. I just wrapped in Los Angeles a few days ago, a feature film that is written by a woman, directed by a woman. The DP is a woman. The first AD was all the department heads, I think, except for sound, were women. Producer is a woman, but a male-female producer partnership. But only the female producers on the set, can I even tell the subject matter? It's about a women's issue. It's a drama, but it's about really making the most of your life while you can. And aren't we all doing that right now during this crazy kind of time?
Menopause is all about. That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. So it was a really important film. Probably the hardest. I almost want to say it's probably the hardest job I've ever had. I've had some really difficult roles before, but as a woman who's done a lot of comedy for a long time, it was really good to go into a drama. And I was just like, it was heavy dialogue, heavy medical dialogue for pages and pages and pages and pages, mostly monologue of my work, of what I was, trying to convey to the lead character and the lead character's daughter. And, I'm trying to be really careful about what I say, but it was really beautiful. And you do everything right now. I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but when we're on sets, there's the whole quarantine and the COVID test and all that. But we do all the rehearsal, masked up. The only time we take off our masks is for hair and makeup, and then for shooting, right? So it's crazy. And to do all those intense rehearsals completely masked up and you don't see anything but eyes until you roll, it's wild.
Well, that may be kind of fun and exciting to be able to, when you see the person, it's like brand new, right? It's like real life.
Oh, you've got a mouth. The producer was talking about how she didn't recognize, like she walked past one of the department heads on the street and they said, hi, and she walked by and why are you being so rude? She's like, who are you? I've been working with you for the last month.
We've had to deal with that in the OR all the time. I mean, there's plenty of OR nurses and techs that say hi to me, and I have no idea who they are because I always see them like this, And unless they have distinctive glasses or particularly, beautiful eyes, it's like, oh, sorry, I don't know who you are. So I'm sure that's an issue here.
So that's no big deal for you. I should have taken some lessons from you about how to deal with that. There you go.
Huh? But nevertheless,
let's talk a little bit about how we met. Okay, because in November of 2018, our producer,
17.
Julie Brothers.
17.
17?
No,
it couldn't be.
17.
You know what? No. We'll look that up and we'll get back to you. But it was either 17 or 18. We're going through menopause, so it doesn't matter. But Julie Carruthers, our producer of our presentation pilot, knew you very, very well. She had just done a movie with you, right? You and Eric Lutz, like just a year before. And she said, I have the perfect woman for this, right? And she brought you in and you were kind enough to do this with us. And it was an absolute blast.
Yes.
And the scenes that you did in this presentation pilot with Eric and with the ladies that were in it it was phenomenal. And do you mind if we show a scene right now and just take a look at it and then we can talk about it a little bit?
Okay. And I got to say, Julie Carruthers was my producer on Santa Barbara when I first started.
Weird. It's full circle. And I didn't know her then either. So.
Oh, isn't that funny? Okay, all right. Go for it.
All right, so let's watch this.
Can I watch?
Yes, you can watch.
Okay.
What?
Ski trip.
I love skiing.
No, baby, but it'd be a quick trip to Park City. We don't go anymore because you're afraid to fly. Look, the important thing is our friend needs help.
He does seem despondent.
Needs his guys.
Sure that's the reason?
Yeah.
You're a good man.
I am.
I think you need A reward.
I do, and so do you.
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Behold you, queen.
Woo! That was hot. That was hot. I remember that scene. It was actually in my bedroom, my actual bedroom.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, you blessed my bedroom. So,
We had a lot of fun, and it made it a lot easier because Eric and I were dating at that time.
Right.
I
We
was
were
the stand-in
super happy to
for it.
play.
I was the stand-in for it, so you and I got under the sheets. I was under the sheets making
You
sure.
wish.
I lost my toenail polish on your sheets. Is that what
That's
you're telling me?
That was such a great scene and so much fun. What do you think about menopause in general? Do you think men go through it?
Oh. Yes. Lightly said yes. And was my beloved going through it at that time? Yes.
Well, he seems to have.
I love it. And pardon me?
He seems to have righted the ship. He's into painting and stuff. And by the way, there's another podcast with the person we're talking about, Eric Lutz, that you can tune in and see. And he and Jane are best friends. And
We still love each other.
And lovers, ex-lovers, but lovers.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yes. We still love talking about that too.
with you, Jane, because you're so sweet and just so big heart. And I follow you on Facebook, and I just see the things that you post, and it is.
You see me bleeding everywhere.
I love it. I love it.
So that's a great transition into the question we asked a while ago, which is a huge part of your life, which is the Jane's dancing hands.
Oh, yes.
I think people are going to be very curious as to what is it, how did it come about, and what's it all about, Alfie?
We are dating ourselves if we know that song, right?
True.
I was a little girl when I would sing that song, and I think you must have been a little boy.
I think Barry was a lot older than that. I think he was in med school when that came out, but go ahead.
So, dancing hands. Oh, gosh. So, in the pause between friends and me moving to Hawaii with my family, I began doing documentary films, and I was asked to do a documentary film on a healer, which subsequently led me to produce his tour around the world. And it was stuff that I never would have thought possible. I'm like, oh my God, this looks so weird. I went, okay, but wouldn't it be cool if it was true? So we helped a lot of people. We saw 500,000 people a year, for a few years. It that whole thing kind of blew up a little bit. And I took a break. And then someone else asked me to do, and then someone else asked me to do. So I was helping various healers along the line, and one of them tapped me on my head. Now, Eric Lutz is very quick to point out that he doesn't think, and others in my life who've been all around, doesn't think it's happened just because like straw broke the camel's back when someone tapped me on my head, my hands began to dance. Some people have said that they've felt something coming through me a long time, but it was whatever that, it's like my diploma was handed to me and suddenly my hands were dancing and people could see things and feel things. So back to Eric Lutz, was absolutely instrumental in this coming through more because when I met him on the film and he told me he had serious Lyme disease. Did you know this?
Yeah.
Did he tell you this story?
3 or 4 years ago, whenever we filmed.
Okay, so I can tell the story. But when I told him,
Our audience doesn't know.
my hands started to dance, and so this like I don't know what this is. I'd wake up in the morning, my hands were moving around, doing mudras, but moving quickly, all this kind of stuff. And I didn't know what it was, but my body felt really good, and so it would start reaching out if I heard of someone hurting. And so the man who had touched me said, I want to see this gift. People are talking about it. And he invited me to this retreat, and I started working with some people there. And suddenly I'm working with 73 people at once. And, everything from someone, on crutches all week long, not able to walk, and she's able to walk. There were Western medical doctors at this conference too. And another woman had broken her toe and she couldn't walk on that. And the doctor confirmed that after I worked on her, it healed up. So like all these wild things started happening. So back to Eric, when he and I were doing the film on our last day of filming, he told me about the Lyme disease. And I said, here, I've got this crazy gift. Do you want me to try? And he said, sure. I mean, he's got this beautiful testimonial on my side about it. He said he was ready to, to wear wrap himself in tinfoil, whatever it was, to get through this line because he could barely walk up the stairs. He was in pain. And I began to work on him. He and I both watched his veins pop up from his legs. And
you said leg, right?
His leg, sorry. Sorry, not all. Just one. The veins started to pop up on him. He was wearing shorts. And so he started to feel better. And then within a week, he was walking without a limp. And within a couple months, he was running up the hill. And he did a 5-minute mile within months from that. So he had gone from barely being able to walk to a 5-minute mile.
Wow.
So within a few months.
Wow. That's amazing.
So anyway, he will be the first to say he was my guinea pig for a lot of this stuff and gave me a lot of trust in it. And so I've been touring around around the world until COVID.
All around the world. Yeah.
Let me back this truck up a little bit because
you betcha.
This is the kind of stuff that tends to generate a lot of skepticism, right?
I hear ya.
Right? And so
I would be skeptical if I hadn't seen it myself.
Well, and that's what I'm trying to get to is when you did the documentary, it's not like you were fodder for this guy. You didn't believe any of that stuff. And then all of a sudden this stuff started to happen. So what happened? Let's go inside you and say, okay, so all of a sudden from one day or 1 week to the next, how did you feel inside? Did you realize that something had changed inside that gave you this energy or power or whatever it is?
Well, let me be clear. When I was working with this healer, when I saw his films, I was like, this is crazy. It'd be great if it would work. And I began talking to my dad about it, who was given a couple of weeks to live. I was with him in hospice for cancer, and I was just talking about it. And I said, can I just hold you in my heart when I'm doing the documentary? And my dad, like within, I don't know, but maybe after the 2 weeks was done and I worked for a week, my dad he was in remission. So I started to see, and I was really sick. I had horrible allergies in Hawaii. And I thought I was going to have to leave the island because it rained 200 inches of rain the first year I was there. And I was just so allergic to everything. And the first day that this man arrived on the island, my allergies disappeared. So I knew already that something weird's going on. Now I come from a Christian background, so I already had faith, but I just thought this stuff was wackadoodle. It was just way too much for me, right?
Yeah.
Way too much. But when this happened, I was really touched by it and moved by it because when you see, you know this, when you see people getting shifted and changed and suddenly, they're able to breathe or live, it changes. So back to your question about me, here's the big thing. It's like, oh man, what are people going to say? Okay, I call it source rather than God, but for some people it's God. It's just easier because it's, all belief systems. But when you're given a gift like that and you don't use it, it's kind of disrespectful, right? If you have an ability to help someone, or it's like you see an old lady fall in the street and you don't help her up, you just walk by because you don't want to be liable.
See, Mike, I told you, we should have picked that lady up.
Right? I can see these things. Anyway, so I began to, my heart would reach out and I would feel better. When I saw these things happening, I was always like, prove it to me, make sure. And also because I know there are so many fakers and liars and, people that are just doing it for money. Please, I don't want to, I don't want to do this unless it's really real. So show me it's real without any doubt. And,
right.
And immediately, the stories are pretty wild. And like I said, I'm the first one to say I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. And I'm from a family of doctors and scientists and all sorts of things, so teachers.
So
does it zap your?
Oh, go ahead.
Does it zap the energy out of you?
No.
You give it all and then you walk away kind of ready to collapse?
I know a lot of healers have that. I know that there are Reiki people that do that. Because it's not me. it's not coming from me. I'm not pushing energy. I'm what people call a conduit, or I'm a hollow flute. So it just comes through me. I feel the flesh. Sometimes I feel it in my body where I'm working on somebody, but which is not correct. It's just, I'm the conduit. So I just feel things a little bit, but no drain ever.
So, just like there's this positive force that you are channeling, there are negative forces, right? And negative forces can be everything from doubt to skepticism, to outright hostility, right? And so do you find, because obviously you can't cure or treat everybody, do you find that it's more common that if somebody doesn't get a response, that it's related to potential this negative energy that's meeting your positive energy? Or what do you think is causing that?
That's a really beautiful question. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
It's a beautiful question. And I really appreciate that. It's because it's not going to happen for everybody, because people are dealing with their sacred contracts, I think. And it's not that you can't change your sacred contract. People can change their somehow. I really try to go carefully on the platitudes and being very exact about certain things. But what I do see is that if it's for the best and the highest good for all concerned, not just this person, but the group or the family, then it can happen. But if it's not necessarily, because for some, they're only supposed to be on earth for a short time. Like I remember the first time I worked with someone who had terminal cancer, and I was brought in like in the hospital at the very last moment. And I just went, I literally looked at him and I saw, and it just broke my heart, because his friend was my wife, and I saw, and Source would show me what I could see in natural terms. So I saw him like a coral reef, and it was beautiful. It was white, but it had holes in it like coral, right? And I was washed with this wave of fear, and it was one of those things like, please, if I can help, please show me how. But I didn't know how. I just saw the coral fill in with light, and that was basically he was being escorted home. Right. The best way to see it. Wow. It has nothing to do with any person's belief system, because I have worked with pre-verbal babies in the hospital and Zoomed with them who haven't been eating for a week, and I'll just be dancing, and I'll play some Disney music, and and mom will hold the phone up, and suddenly they're okay.
But that's because they don't have a preconceived notion of the world, of their life, of their problems, right? So they're actually an open book, an open source for you to work on, as opposed to somebody who's a negative Nelly, jaded by the world. None of this stuff works.
I have worked on people that are negative too. Eric brought me to a Christmas party back in Rhode Island, and his friend started lining up, and there's one guy in the corner was like making fun of me. That was definitely had too much to drink, was making fun of me. And I'm like, and I just went over to him like, it's okay. I totally get it. I mean, half my family can't even talk to me about this. It's totally fine. And I said, but your thumb is really hurting you, isn't it? I just had this like sense, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, can you even move it? Because he had arthritis so bad. I was like, no. And like, well, let's just see what happens. It's like, he's laughing, completely drunk. And within 5 minutes, he was moving his thumb, no problem. So, and I said afterwards, I was like, Eric, I'm not going to do that anymore. I don't want to be a party trick. Right. Because I don't want to disrespect. I don't want to work on anyone who's drunk. I don't want to have people line up for me at a party. That's just not what it's about. But it was a good teaching. It was a good teaching that it could happen, no matter what people are feeling. So I'm not in charge. Sources and the higher self of the person, I think, a little bit.
It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning every day. I'm humbled every single day. I wish I could make it happen.
I'm sure the COVID problems of this last year have really hindered you going out in the world and doing this. But so are you doing this online? It sounds like you're doing Zoom.
I am. And you know what's
classes?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Zoom circles and private sessions. And you know what the interesting thing is? I've been working with a lot of doctors, therapists, and psychiatrists. I've been working with oncologists online. And so what I've been able to do is help them with their practice, but also the stress on everybody. all the doctors and nurses, all the frontline people. I've been working with a lot of frontliners, and they're incredibly stressed. So it gives them a little sense of peace. It can be emotional, just harmony. So yeah, all online now.
Wow.
So this is not something, obviously, that is ever going to fade away in your life. I mean, so now what you have to sort of do is measure how much of that are you doing and how much of acting and producing and directing, and you're going to have to find that balance. So when it comes to acting and, being in the entertainment business, what sort of projects are you interested in doing, and what are you looking at?
Well, it's interesting because it's not, I'm not told, I'm not hearing well, it's going to be for 10 years, I'll do this, or 20 years. I mean, maybe it'll just disappear. Who knows? That's why I'm definitely at the, you live your full life, right?
Right.
Live all you can and see what happens. But how do I balance? I am fielding other projects. I am working on the book. I've been working on the book actually since this whole thing started. But because everything is evolving, there's been so many stories coming, and I have enough to fill 5 or 6 books at this point because the stories have been so remarkable. So how am I doing it? I am still right now. I'm working on a possible new series that I'm talking to the producers tomorrow on. So we shall see. I still am kind of waiting for the Menopause series to get picked up. I don't know what the heck's going on with that, but I have some idea.
Menopause series, I hear that is fantastic.
So good.
And yes, and we would love for that to happen.
Yes, we can do 2 series.
The funny thing about that is Eric played me, and you played my wife, Lori.
I love Lori.
Presentation, right? And we would love for you to do it again. So if you have any ideas.
I do.
Yes.
Do you want me to tell you right now?
No.
No.
Okay.
Well,
This is about you, Jane.
But I have some, because I just want to say, and this is not spoiling. Well, after I saw the screening,
Right.
I was so touched and so moved by this. And it wasn't just funny. It had so much heart. And Eric and I both looked at you like, we are so proud of this. It's beautiful. And we all the cast was looking at each other like, we knew you were good. I knew you were good. I knew you were good. But collectively, the whole thing, so good. It really needs to be up there. It really needs to be on. I think
it will.
Yes.
We're getting there. We have some good people that are going to be repping it, and of course, any ideas you have, we'll talk about later and pass on to.
Okay.
But so
afterwards, I don't want to give away any of the goodies.
Right.
Well, the other thing we mentioned to Eric just before we get into our, the
Actor studio line of questioning.
Exactly. Is we mentioned this to Eric. We've mentioned it to everybody that's been on it. And I don't think people realize, I mean, I'm always impressed with actors that can memorize lines. Mm-hmm. Like I can't, for some reason, I can't do that. But you guys, we did 34 pages of script in 3.5 days. And you guys did that without any rehearsal, except for the small amount that you guys did right when you came down. I mean, it was really an amazing feat, and it's a testament to the quality of the actors that are in this, that they not only hit their marks and knew the dialogue, but got into the character. It's one thing to just say dialogue. You guys became those characters. It was really an amazing experience.
Oh, we had so much fun. And as you know, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. I don't like saying ain't, but I'll use it for that expression.
No, ain't's good.
It was a beautiful script, and it was easy to memorize because you made it so from the heart. It was just so good, so good.
Well, thank you.
Larry
We're excited. Yes.
I love it.
And it was.
And I told you that before. Did I request any changes?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It was a dream come true. And Larry and I said, if we're going to put our money, we better put our money where our mouth is, right?
Yeah.
And if we're going to make this, we couldn't afford to shoot it in Hollywood on a studio set. So we came down here and shot it
in San Diego, and everybody stayed in a local hotel by the beach here.
Beautiful
And it was
hotel.
probably the best 3 days of my life.
Did we just through it? It was 3 days. That was
Three and a half days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
2018. It was great.
you guys. That is so funny. I'm sure.
I think it was
2019.
17.
I think it was just last year.
Yeah. I think it was yesterday. Yeah.
I think pretty sure.
Hey everybody, Larry and Mike here to tell you about a new product that we're going to be featuring on manopause.com. It's called Mano Hemp Relief.
Oh, yeah.
It is an amazing pain reliever that has 2,500 milligrams of cannabidiol. And
Wait a minute.
What?
Cannabidiol?
cannabidiol.
What is cannabidiol?
It's made from hemp.
Whoa.
And it has no THC, so you don't have to worry about hallucinations and stuff like that. But it has been proven in studies to relieve muscle and joint pain. I've used it on my neck after surgeries, and by the next morning, I'm feeling great. And I know Mike's been using it because he's the one that turned me on to this stuff.
It's awesome. It really, really, really works. That's why we wanted to bring it to you, the manopause.com audience, and just say, you know what, guys, this is it. This is the one. Try it. You will love it, and it does actually work, and work well, and instantly. I mean, within a few minutes, you start feeling the relief right away. And so I definitely recommend
Yeah,
it.
so it's safe and effective and reasonably priced. So go to manopause.com, go to the shop, check it out. We know you're going to like it.
All right, so let's move on to the more deep questions that we stole from James Lipton. Some of them from
All
the
right.
Actors Studio. So, Mike, take it away.
Okay, so sweet, spiritual, loving Jane.
Yes.
We'd love to know what your favorite curse word is.
Hells bells.
Hell's bells. Where y'all from?
Just giving you a clue about something else I'm working on right now. Thank you very much. Hell's bells.
Hell's bells it is.
When my mother would say that,
Ooh, you knew we were in trouble.
Oh.
big trouble. I was going to get my mouth washed out with soap.
Ooh-wee. All right.
Where are you
What
from?
did Eric say? I want to know.
Oh, he said motherfucker.
I was saying that all yesterday, but not like that. I was using lots of G's, mother. But that's because that's what I have to do. I've never heard him say that.
I don't
He
think
said
that was
different
his.
words.
Maybe it was.
You know what? I've never heard him say that. I know other things he said, but only in joy.
Well, we interviewed Jerry Mathers, who played the Bieber, and we asked him that question, and he said G. Willikers or something like that.
See? Hell's bells, right?
All right. Question number 2 for you.
Yes.
If you could go back and talk to Jane at age 25,
25.
what kind of advice would you give yourself, you know, if it was you going back talking to yourself at age 25?
I would probably tell myself to also get my master's in directing.
Oh.
That's not really advice, but it's just that's one part of the picture that I didn't do that I really would have loved to have explored more. I directed on stage, but it's interesting because I've taken that question to heart, and I've made a lot of mistakes in my life for sure.
Welcome to the club.
Oh, I have a lot of things I would tell myself. But I think that's just one that would just like give greater voice to myself. Interesting. It's interesting. I have a spiritual thing that's knocking on my door right now, saying you would try this one too. Yeah, I'd already I'd gone through something really, really horrible. I was kidnapped at 21, so I was already everything in my life was like turning around and trying to figure it out and trying to just get myself safe at that time. So just having a bigger stance and stronger faith and courage about where I needed to go.
Well, you got there anyways, so
Wow.
obviously you found
That's
the
a
right.
testament to
Yeah.
how strong you are.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. Wow, that's sorry to hear that.
And protected. I was eventually protected, but it was intense, and that's, often things. Oh, this is not the comedy thing that we thought we'd be talking about. Let's get back to the funny questions.
The comedy thing. Question number 3.
Yes.
What have you experienced, if anything, of men going through menopause? Where do you see what's happened to men? Tell us what you think.
Well, I would probably say my dear Eric Lutz was the one I experienced most. Did he talk about me on menopause? Did he talk about me
Only
going
lovingly.
menopause?
Only lovingly.
I actually think that there is the emotional roller coaster that men go through that they just don't talk about. Just like we saw in Menopause, the show. Mm-hmm. There is an emotional roller coaster that why the heck haven't we not talked about this? Obviously we know that for years the whole red Corvette syndrome or whatever it is, Maserati, depending upon where you are.
Right, that's true.
But
or a Buick.
Did either of you get a red car?
Nope.
I didn't get I got a Porsche at age 40.
Okay, so you were in your perimenopause.
I got a convertible Jag. XK convertible. It was black, so it was okay.
It wasn't too ostentatious. It wasn't like the yellow Hummer, which basically says I have a tiny little penis.
Right.
Hey, you had a yellow Hummer, Mike.
No, it wasn't yellow. It was silver.
Oh, no.
It was silver.
Oh, no.
Not yellow.
Step
back and say you're sorry.
We'll edit that out. No, we won't.
I need to cut that out because my friend actually, she married a guy with a yellow Hummer. I'm like, oh. Smell dick syndrome. I'm so sorry. But I'm so sorry.
That's okay. He's used to it. All right. Well, here's another question now.
I'm sorry.
We kind of touched on this a little bit. Well, what other passions would you like to pursue now? Like Eric's totally into his art and is trying all different mediums and different ideas in terms of what he likes to paint. And you just mentioned you wish you had gotten your master's in directing. Is that an avenue that you'd really like to explore and do more directing rather than just acting?
I would like to go into directing more. I would love to do that. And yet I also know because of this gift, I am directed. So it's really kind of a conundrum in terms of casting what I wish to do now, because now I'm more called to do things. But I would think that producing and directing is definitely one of the things that I'd very much like to do, and actually not just writing, but actually getting my writing out there, perhaps like you.
Yay.
I'd love for you to write an article or 2 or 10 for us about any subject at Jane's Dancing Hands. I mean, if you talk about what has moved you in your life and how you're pursuing your passion, it's a great article.
Okay.
For menopause, because we all want to know, especially at our age, and you're way younger, but at our age, we want to hear from other men and women what everybody's going through and how do we learn from that.
Yeah. Did you ask your men if they went through their menopause? Did you ask them?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I'm really curious to see what Eric said about that, because we talked about it. I mean, he talks about how he's in a better place now than he was when we actually broke up, but he was going through it big time during that time.
Yeah, it's a real thing, and almost everybody that we've done podcasts with, in one way or another, we find out what their story is, and some guys are like, "Oh my God, hit me like a ton of bricks," and other people are like, "Well, maybe," and so there's still a little bit of the don't want to really talk about it, let's move on to a different subject kind of thing.
Is it mostly with the men who are a little more self-aware that what is your beat on that because we haven't talked about it, so men aren't quite sure?
I think so. We interviewed a guy, Jed Diamond is his name, and he kind of started the whole men's mental physical health movement with something called menalive.com back in 1969.
Wow.
And he was pushing the idea that, hey, guys, you're going through changes, and you're going to go through changes that are going to affect you positively and negatively.
Right.
And so he kind of started that whole movement. He's written like 17 books. We did a podcast. You can look it up.
Right.
And it's fascinating. He brings up a lot of very interesting stuff about depression and irritability and suicide as a result of going through this hormonal change. So it's
And it was a big comedy hit for us to do that podcast with him because he was so funny.
Sure. Can I ask you a question opposed to this one, this dark girl? But I'm curious, do you have a perimenopause the way that we do?
Well, I think the perimenopause starts at 40. That's the perimenopause is the red Corvette, right?
Right.
And is this all there is? And gee, I got to go out and have fun now because, I've dedicated the last 3 years to my family, right? A lot of men do that. And so they start golfing on the weekends and taking men's trips and stuff.
Right.
And, that I think that's kind of the precursor to, now I'm getting scared. I'm 50. What do I do now?
Right.
How do I stay relevant? What am I going to do at work? How much longer am I going to have to work? And I'm not so attractive anymore. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm getting this going on and this going on. And we go through it. We just don't talk about it. And that's why Jed Diamond was so valuable to, talking about it with men, because men don't want to talk about it. They don't want to realize that they are getting older. So we asked some really good questions of him, and he was great.
Yeah, people need to watch that podcast. It's really, really informative.
I'm happy to promote it. So.
Yeah, it was one of the only ones that we've done that there wasn't a lot of laughing going on because we were like listening intently on what he had to say, and he's dynamite. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I will look forward to, because I would prefer to be dating somebody who's in menopause, a youngster. That's fun.
Okay, so you're gorgeous, and we all know that, and you don't age at all.
It's the filters, honey. It's the filters.
Oh, can you get me one of those? Because I think I need it.
No, you look great.
Can you get Larry? Because he's going to have to use that.
I don't know what's happening with me.
There's a slider. There's a slider.
But so do you prefer? And this was actually, I'm glad you brought that up because this is one of my questions for you, which is, do you prefer younger men your own age, or older men?
It's a good question.
Yes, I think is her answer.
It's interesting. Oh gosh, they're going to hear this too. I have dated a couple much younger men.
Wait, are you in a relationship now?
No.
Okay, good. I was going to say
somebody.
You have to be really careful what you say on this because
I know, but even the ones that I just was dating will be watching maybe.
So was it fun?
Yeah. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's very different.
Yeah.
I have to. I also have to be careful. I haven't been divorced that long. 5-6 years now, I think is, so. But Eric was a significant part of my, post marriage, and it was awesome. Except for when it wasn't, when he was in menopause.
Right.
But he also had to deal with the gift coming through, and that was really hard for him. So I also understand. It's not. I say that so lovingly because he admits he was going through stuff and I was going through growth. And so I wasn't able to properly be there for him at that time too. So I take responsibility for that as well. So back to your question, I like older men. Ooh. Or my own age, or exactly my own age.
29, 42, 43.
No, darling.
Way over there. You crossed the line.
I'm happy to tell you I'm 58.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I practice, I tell a lot of women that come in because I see it, 60 is the new 45.
Yeah, well, for your practice.
Well, no, I'm talking about before I do anything. Because women, they don't smoke, they don't overdrink, they work out, they're concerned about how they look, as are men nowadays. And so, we can remember our grandparents when they were 60, it's like, 1 foot in the grave, and now 60, 65-year-old women are gorgeous.
Yeah, but see, and obviously I say this so lovingly, a lot of women are getting worked on, and because of my work, I can't get worked on. So I am the one who,
You don't
So
need
they slap filters on. But no, I have a lot of wrinkles. I'm definitely showing my menopause. It's kicking in hard.
Well, of course, that's not work. That's skincare, and my office can help you with that.
Thank you. I'd love to have some more skincare. Please.
Yeah.
Oh, can we run Del Mar plastic surgery?
Please, could I have some more skincare?
Jane's favorite plastic surgery office where she doesn't have.
Right.
I remember I told you, I just gave me the magic cream. I just can't do any injectables.
That's right. I'll get you some stuff. I'm on it. But anyways,
Thank
to wrap this up, because we know you're busy.
Yes.
The final question is, 10 years from now, we're doing this again. What do you hope you've accomplished by then?
A few Emmys for menopause.
Sweet.
There we go.
Ooh,
That's a done deal.
Put that out. Put that out. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Should we dance for the success of menopause? I really do. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? I hope in 10 years that we are all living in much greater harmony. I hope in 10 years we are all talking to each other, that we stop all this divisive rhetoric. It's over. I'm so done with this. And I really, really hope that we all learn to communicate better, as you taught people how to do in this wonderful project. I'm so proud of you too.
Thank you.
So many people just dream about doing their stuff, but you guys did it. Not only your real work, but also your imaginary work. And you were creating something so beautiful for everybody to see and to flourish from. We all need to be more graceful about these changes. So thank you.
The most important thing that Mike and I have discussed is we're meeting such unbelievable people.
That's fun, huh?
Between you and Eric and the entire cast.
Yeah. Who else is there?
And producers and writers that we have writing for us and stuff. I mean, it's just we have a Pulitzer Prize winning author working with us. We have an award-winning. We just are meeting these fascinating people that we might not ordinarily have met if we were just focused on our regular jobs. So that alone has been reward enough. But like we've talked about, we think this is going to go even farther, and we're looking forward to it.
You're okay with the old girl who's not getting all snipped and tipped? It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be like the woman in Brazil, right? Remember she was like that?
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that we're going to take this out with a scene from behind the scenes with you and Eric, because we've talked so much about Eric on this with you. I think that would be a funny thing, is to play that going out.
I want to see that scene behind the scenes.
All right.
Well, then we're going to finish that up. And then, and so in the meantime, thanks so much, Jane, for doing this with us. And I know we're going to be in touch soon. Good luck with all your Dancing Hands events and this new feature film that you are doing. And, we'll be looking for you.
Yes. I'll be looking for you too. Yeah. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I will happily dance at janesdancinghands.com anytime with you.
All right. And stay on, because we're going to talk about that other stuff at the end. So
I want to see it.
Thanks a lot, Jane.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
I had heard menopause about a year ago. I'm like, no, it's just a funny joke.
Still put everything in the sink, because it makes a bigger mess.
Yeah, I know how to clear, sweetie.
Love you.
There's many ways you can play these characters, but the fact that these two were in love was so refreshing. Sitcom is so much fun. It's the scariest of all for me, too, because I don't think I'm really funny.
You're so funny.
Hello there, I'm John O'Hurley. Do you have FOMO, fear of missing out? Well, I did, and it frightened me. But no more, because I found menopause.com, the site for men over 50 you'll never miss out again. Menopause.com is overflowing with articles, videos, and podcasts about sex, travel, sports, entertainment, health, and so much more. Menopause.com.